Hello everyone, I'm Jacob, the Community Manager with Paradox Studio Black. Today we'll be reading the words of Petter Lund, Art Director for Crusader Kings 3, as well as the words of Lucas Ribeiro, 2D Art Lead, and Cordelian, one of the game designers currently working on All Under Heaven. For All Under Heaven, we're undertaking our most ambitious expansion yet, extending the map to encompass all of Asia. This represents a big undertaking that goes beyond just extending the geography of the map. While the map has seen new assets trickle in since the release of Crusader Kings 3 5 years ago, the overall look of the map has remained unchanged. During these 5 years, we've filled a bucket of visual ideas that we've been eager to implement, and this expansion proved the perfect opportunity to give the entire map a facelift. This is mainly an artistic reimagining and a modernizing of the artistic workflow. It doesn't involve fancy new engine tech. We're using the same features that have been available to the modding community already. This means you'll be able to put your own spin on these changes, provided that you're up for tinkering with shader code. We also plan on adding additional documentation that will make it easier for new modders to get started, though this may come later. Moreover, we're also adding optional settings for some of the larger changes that will impact performance in All Under Heaven. In the olden days of Crusader Kings 3 release, we painted height maps and terrain masks by hand. This took our team months to complete, and any increase in detail would exponentially increase the workload. This process left little room for iteration and course correction underway. The old mountains were created mostly from a tiling normal map. This technique results in visual noise in dense mountain regions, something especially apparent when extending the Himalayas eastward. We would rather have a more realistic appearance that mimics real erosion patterns. Mountains should feel more like mountains. To solve this problem, we've adopted the terrain generation software Gaia. It's a tool that creates realistic height maps and material masks through simulating real erosion patterns. We can generate complex terrain far more efficiently than with manual painting, and we no longer have to start from scratch when iterating on the general look of the map. The scale of terrain features remains largely the same, however. There's a few reasons for this. We use the old height map as a base, since the shape of the map also has gameplay implications. We also find that the stylized scale of mountains looks best when zoomed in, even though a more realistic scale can feel better zoomed out. If we adopted a real-world scaling, most mountains would appear as noise when zoomed in, at the level where you can actually inspect the terrain. Here's what the process looks like. We divide the input height map ocean masks into tiles. Each tile then gets processed through Gaia, which outputs a final height map, overlay color map, and masks for the individual tiling materials. All of the output tiles are then stitched together, leaving us with large texture files that cover the entire map. As an extra complication, we have divided the world into 7 biomes that each have their own set of tiling textures and material masks that define its character. The steps mentioned previously are run individually for each biome, and then the final result is stitched together at the very end to create the final map. For each biome, we gather reference images and attempt to extract some unique color palette that makes it look different from other biomes in the game. When we were iterating on the look itself, we work with a single tile. We'll pick a prototype tile that is representative of a particular biome and refine that particular tile. When we are happy with the result, we do a full build of the entire world, which can take up to 3 hours. The visual improvements go beyond the height map and terrain textures though. We have taken a careful look at the lighting and shaders for all map elements. Subtle tweaks have been added to most elements to improve their readability and make them aesthetically blend together in an overall nicer way. Map text now has a subtle texture and softer appearance. It should now feel less digital and easier on the eyes. The political map mode has a higher resolution texture with less apparent tiling. Water now has more varied detail and color in different parts of the world. There are improved wave patterns along the shore, and the overall scale and wave texture has been balanced for a more realistic feel. Effects blend more naturally between zoom levels, removing some long-standing pop-in and glitches that were noticeable in the transition between paper map, political, and terrain map modes. Speaking of zoom, you can now zoom in even closer than before. Lastly, we have reworked the terrain lighting. Terrain and map objects now have separately adjustable parameters that let us tweak their values individually, allowing us an easier time making them both look great. The map is generally brighter, and important interactable objects should pop out more. We've added cloud shadows that creep across the landscape, and to top it all off, we're adding a terrain map mode that lets you view the entire world in this enhanced visual style. We hope you'll like it. And if you don't, you can disable cloud shadows and some of the other shader-based changes in the game settings. As some of you might have noticed from our previous dev diaries, we have a new illustrated paper map for All Under Heaven. This Asian folklore-inspired map covers the entirety of the game world and will be used by default by most East Asian cultures. Our original paper map has also been extended all the way to the east. Besides cultural triggers, players will also be able to pick which paper map style they'd rather use in the Graphics tab of the Settings menu. Now, let's have a look at some snapshots from the new illustrated map. Around Japan, you can observe the Kappa, the Ushi Oni, and the Baku. While between Korea and China, Cholima streaks across the sky. Surrounding China, we can observe the Feng Huang bird and the first of our cardinal direction beasts, the azure dragon of the east. More of these beasties are appropriately positioned in the map, such as the vermilion bird of the south under India, the white tiger of the west by the Iberian Peninsula, and finally the black turtle of the north by Scandinavia. We have endeavored to represent the terrain features of the world in a style more reminiscent of Chinese paintings and shan shui, with bold paint strokes and intricate natural patterns. The leafy, steep mountains should reflect this very clearly. For the original map extension, we've kept the style inspired in the Olaus Magnus Carta Marina. The familiar mountain, forest, desert, etc. patterns have been extended all the way to the east as well. But the look of the map isn't the only thing that has been getting an update. Borders and names have been updated as well. The de jure structure of China has changed and evolved significantly over the summer as we've processed the tremendous outpouring of incredibly valuable feedback that we've received since the reveal, both internally, with thanks to our beta testers, and externally, with thanks to all of you. At the Empire tier, the main change you may notice now is that the names were previously inspired by dynasties that once ruled these lands in ancient times, but are now significantly more regional than dynastic in flavor. Liang is now Zhang Yuan. Wu has become Jing Yang. Yue has been changed to Ling Nan. Shu has transformed into Liang Yi. And Chen has changed into Yang Liang. These names are, to be clear, more for general reference and suitability as labels for unformed de jure empire tier. Anyone who comes to rule one of these as an independent entity still may adopt one among a range of proper, venerable dynastic names. The kingdom structure has undergone some changes also. You may note the replacement of the phonetically repetitive Jing Dong Dong with Qing Shu, while the previous northern de jure kingdom of Yanyun has been divided into Rauli, Daibei, and Yuji, allowing for more historical assignments and more piecemeal northern reclamation, or southward expansion if you happen to be a nomadic dynasty. As the terrain map has been refined, so too has the distribution of impassable terrain. The Sichuan Basin is ringed with strategically challenging peaks and ranges, reflecting its historically significant natural geographic barriers, while coastal Fujian also exhibits a significant mountain presence. 8-part mountains, 1 part water, 1 part fields, as at least one book we've consulted put it. We're also here with something else new, the county tier map of China, which wasn't quite ready to show off the last time we talked about this new part of the game world. But we're more than happy to give you a better look at it now. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with the obvious preponderance of Zhu, it is a standard administrative suffix for this level of jurisdiction throughout Chinese history, one that remains an element of many major cities, such as Hangzhou and Suzhou, even up to the present day. And that's all we have for you today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this brief look at how this part of the map is coming along. We'd love to share even more of what we've been working on with you, but that information is reserved for dev diaries to come. Next week, we'll be back with something a bit more sizable for you to dig into. As always, thank you for watching. And if you want to stay up to date with all things Crusader Kings 3, then please subscribe to the channel.